Namaskar and MIT greetings to all. On behalf of MIT University Gurugram and ICSSR, I, Professor Aditi Mathur and Dr. Fiza extend a warm welcome to the much awaited ICSSR International Conference on Equity and Empowerment, Women Workers in the Urban Informal Sector. MIT University, Haryana is a multidisciplinary university imparting UGC recognized programs at undergraduate, postgraduate, and doctorate level in the various disciplines of science, engineering, technology, management, liberal arts, psychology, law, earth and environmental science, architecture and planning, media and mass communication, fashion designing, hospitality and tourism, and medical and elite health sciences. The vision of MIT University Haryana is to be a world-class center of creativity and innovation and to contribute to the progress of humanity through excellence in education, industry, and society-relevant research and extension services. MIT University Haryana campus is focused on sustainability in all aspects and is India's first university campus and second in Asia to be awarded with LEED Platinum Certification USA, which is the highest standard worldwide for environmentally responsible design, construction of existing buildings. The university is NAAC Grade A accredited and ranked 101 for 2023-24 in the country by NIRF. MIT Business School, a part of MIT University Gurugram, was established under the Haryana Act 2010 on April 26, 2010. The institute is accredited by Accreditation Service for International Colleges and Accreditation Council for Business Schools and Programs, USA. MIT Business School, Gurugram has consistently achieved remarkable rankings in various national surveys. It has been recognized among the top 10 BBA institutions in the North Zone by Times of India Institute Ranking Survey 2023. Additionally, it has also secured the 13th position among the top BBA colleges in India by India Today MDRA Survey 2024. Furthermore, the school has been ranked among top 10 private B schools in NCR by the B Khansa Research Survey 2024. Notably, it has also earned the distinction of being ranked among the top 10 private B schools in India for 3 consecutive years, 2022, 23, and 24, as per the Times of India rankings. It is with the immense pride and honor that we welcome you to the Indian Council of Social Sciences Research sponsored International Conference on Equity and Empowerment, Women Workers in the Urban Informal Sector, organized by MIT Business School, MIT University, Gurugram, in collaboration with ICSSR Viksit Bharat Mission 2047. This conference brings to the light a crucial and often overlooked aspect of our society. The urban informal sector, as a cornerstone of the Indian economy, employs a significant portion of the population, with women making sustainable contribution. Yet, these women faces numerous challenges from the income insecurity, and lack of social protections to unsafe working conditions and limited access to opportunities. It is my great privilege and honor to extend a heartfelt welcome to the visionary leaders of MIT University, Gurugram, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, our esteemed founder president, Dr. Asim Chauhan, our esteemed chancellor, and our honorable vice chancellor, Sir Professor P.V. Sharma, an esteemed academician and visionary leader, and our pro-vice chancellor, Sir Dr. Vikas Madhukar, Sir, whose unwavering guidance and support for this momentous occasion of the International Conference on Equity and Empowerment, Women Workers in the Urban Informal Sector. To commence this prestigious event, let us invoke the divine blessings with the ceremonial lighting of the lamp. May I request our esteemed guest to kindly step forward for the light lamping ceremony. Joining us for this auspicious moment, we have our respected Pro-Vice Chancellor, Sir, and our distinguished guest,
कुन्तेन्दुतुषार या शोभिता या वीणामण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः सा मां सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारः वीणास्ततभासिनी अभयदा जाड्यान्धकारापहा हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिका वन्दे ईश्वरीं भगवतीं प्रदां शारदा
Thank you, everyone. The ceremony symbolizes the light of knowledge and wisdom that guides us forward. Now, we request our respected Pro Vice Chancellor, Sir, to felicitate our dignitaries. Sir, please. Mr. Jagdish Parihar, sir. Dr. Sangeeta Ghosh, ma'am. Professor Dr. G.K. Arora, sir. Our respected PVC Sir, Professor Dr. Vikas Madhukar Sir, as Conference Chair. Professor Dr. Jose Sir. Dr. Vinay Bhargav. We extend heartfelt gratitude to all our honored dignitaries for gracing us with their presence. Your contributions to the field of education and research inspire us greatly. Thank you all. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Faraz Ahmed, Project Director, ICSSR Research Project, for a welcome note. Dr. Faraz Ahmed is an assistant professor with MIT School of Economics, MIT University, Haryana, with specialization in development economics. He has completed his PhD in economics from Aligarh Muslim University in 2015 and postdoctoral in economics from the Indian Council of Social Science Research in 2019. Dr. Faraz has authored more than 20 research papers in Scopus, ABDC, and other index journals. Sir, please.
Yes, a very good morning to all the distinguished speakers. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all at the International Conference on Equity and Empowerment, Women Workers in the Urban Informal Sector, sponsored by ICSSR under Vision Viksit Bharat for 2047. I am Dr. Faraz Ahmed, Assistant Professor, Amity School of Economics, and I'm extremely overwhelmed to have this opportunity to welcome you all at this international conference. I feel extremely honored to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. P.V. Sharma, and Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Vikas Madhukar sir, with us today. Their presence here underscores the significance of this conference and reflects their wavering commitment to academic excellence and innovation. Professor Dr. Vikas Madhukar is a renowned academician with a wealth of experience in management education, known for his remarkable contribution and exemplary leadership. Professor Madhukar has been instrumental in driving the university towards new heights of excellence. His strategic vision and unwavering commitment to quality education has brought about transformative changes, positively impacting the lives of students, faculty, and staff. He has rich and varied experience of more than 25 years in teaching, training, research, consultancy, and administration. He has produced more than 14 PhDs and contributed more than 80 research papers in different national and international journals. He has also more than 5 books published on strategy and other management areas. We welcome you, sir. I feel deeply honored to have with us today a distinguished group of speakers, each an expert in their field, whose valuable insights will undoubtedly enrich our conference and inspire all of us. Their contributions both to their respective disciplines and to wider academic community are truly remarkable. On behalf of Amity University Gurgaon, I would like to extend a warm welcome and heartfelt welcome to our esteemed speakers for today. Dr. Sangeeta Ghosh is currently working as a senior faculty and researcher at the Institute for Studies in Industrial Development in New Delhi. Her interest includes political economy and development, industrialization, regional development, informal economy, and issues related to labor and employment. We welcome you, ma'am. Our next speaker today is Mr. Jagdish Parihar, who is currently serving as the Assistant General Manager and Cluster in charge of NABARD in Gurgaon. He has over 2 decades of experience at NABARD. Our next speaker for today is Dr. G.K. Arora. He has around 30 years of experience in teaching and research. Dr. Arora has been a recipient of many fellowships awards and recognition, including Senior Fellowship awarded by the Government of India. We welcome you, sir. Our next speaker is Dr. D.K. Malhotra. Dr. Malhotra is a professor of finance at School of Business, Thomas Jefferson University. Dr. Malhotra has a prolific research portfolio. He has authored over 180 research articles in reputed journals such as European Journal of Operational Research, Omega, the International Journal of Management Science. He has also been acknowledged by the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia for his research and the application of neural networks in consumer loan evaluation. We welcome you, sir, also. Today's conference will serve as a crucial platform to address the challenges, share knowledge, and generate actionable solutions that can lead to a meaningful change. So, once again, welcome to all our guests and speaker. I look forward to a dynamic, insightful, and productive conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Parasif, for setting the tone for the day with such an inspiring welcome. Now we have the pleasure of hearing from our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Sir, Dr. Vikas Madhukar Sir, whose unwavering guidance strengthens our collective resolve. With over 25 years of experience in teaching, research, training, and consultancy, he has produced 15 PhDs, contributed to over 80 research papers, authored 5 books on strategy and management, and has served as editor-in-chief of the MIT Management Analyst Journal. In addition to his role as Pro Vice Chancellor at MIT University Gurugram, he holds key positions as the Dean of the Faculty of Management Studies and the Director of MIT Business School. Recognized as a mentor for change by NITI Aayog under the Atal Innovation Mission, he is a guide and resource person for various public and private organizations. His dynamic leadership has been instrumental in fostering a culture of innovation, collaboration, and academic excellence. Sir, we welcome you to address the gathering.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fiza, for a good introduction. Very good morning to all present here. Professor Dr. A.M. Jose, our Senior Professor of Economics at MIT Business School, Department of Economics. My colleague, Professor Dr. Anil Kumar, Deputy Dean of Academic. Professor Dr. G.L. Arora, Professor in our School of Business and Commerce. Our very esteemed guest of the day, we have Mr. Jagdish Parihar, who is AGM and cluster in charge, Gurugram cluster office. So as a cluster in charge, he is taking care of 4 districts. It's not only Gurugram, but apart from Gurugram, he is looking after Nuh, Faridabad, Palwal, and Rewari. We are most delighted to extend a very warm welcome to you, sir. Our another very esteemed resource person, Dr. Sangeeta Ghosh, who is senior faculty and scientist at Institute of Studies in Industrial Development, ISID, New Delhi. We had a brief conversation over tea, and she is with a very brief interaction. I could make out she is not only expert in her own field, but she is very, very kind. Thank you, ma'am. And we are most delighted to extend a very warm welcome to you to Amity University. I also extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Faraz Ahmed. Dr. Faraz Ahmed, who is the project director of this very prestigious ICSSR project as a PI and the co-PI of this project, where Dr. A.M. Jose is there, Dr. Rishi Manrai, Dr. Sumer, and we also have a faculty from our IBAS. So my appreciation to the team for working on this very, very important area, and bringing this project to the university. And of course, this particular conference is a part of the project which this team has received from ICSSR, which is on a study on the participation of women worker in the urban informal sector. I also extend a warm welcome to my all faculty members, research scholar, and students. My Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. P.B. Sharma, he could not be here due to some last minute very important meeting, and I'm also conveying and extending a warm welcome on behalf of Vice Chancellor. Today is a very important day. While in the morning I was sitting in my office and we were talking on the theme of this particular seminar, we found that today, when we are celebrating National Girl Child Day 2025, which happens to be today, I think there could not be a best day other than this to hold a conference on this very important topic on equity and empowerment women worker in the informal sector. As we know, and as highlighted by the project director of ICSSR project, Dr. Faraz, that the project which they have received is under the broad mission of Viksit Bharat 2047, where our very dear Prime Minister Shri Modi ji has envisioned a Bharat from now to 2047, when we are completing 100th year of our independence, that we want to transform this country from a country which is known as developing nation to a developed nation. With the current GDP of roughly about $3.8 trillion to an economy of more than $30 trillion. I remember the day when this mission was launched by the Prime Minister. Our Prime Minister is very, very visionary, as we all know, and he has thought of that this particular mission is not possible without having the participation of important stakeholders. And one of the stakeholders he envisioned is the students, faculties, more precisely I say is the educational institution, schools and universities. So what he did, the PMO informed all governor of all state and told them that the Prime Minister is going to launch this and want to address the Vice Chancellors, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, the Senior Professor of all university, and want to communicate this vision and can make them understand the role of each and every important stakeholder, most importantly, the role of higher education institutions, the role of faculty members, the role of students. And we are from this university also, we had received an invitation from Honorable Governor of Haryana, and we were there in Raj Bhavan, Chandigarh. I was there along with Professor Jose was there, I remember, and Professor Pandey was there, and many other faculty. Professor Monica was also there with us. And then Prime Minister has addressed the Vice Chancellors and senior academic leader of nation, and there he communicated that Viksit Bharat is something where each and everyone is required to contribute, and the aim of $30 trillion making an economy of $30+ trillion is only possible when each one of us will understand that what is my contribution in this regard. So if I look at the broader theme of Viksit Bharat, the Viksit Bharat has a theme which is focused on productivity and resilience in agriculture. And that's what Mr. Jagdish Parihar, as a representative of NABARD, which is significantly contributing in this area. Thanks to you, sir. And the Viksit Bharat also asks for tremendous contribution from people like you. The second area, employment and skilling, inclusive human resource development and social justice, manufacturing and services, urban development, energy security, infrastructure, innovation, research, development, and overall the most important is sustainability. So while we say sustainability, it broadly covers three aspects of sustainability. The first address to the environmental sustainability. The second is social sustainability, and third one is economic sustainability. So sustainability basically aimed at reaching a target of $30 trillion economy without disturbing the natural ecosystem, conserving the resources, and also protecting the future of our young generation. So while this conference is covering one part of the whole theme and whole area, is one of the area which is talking about equity and empowerment for women workers in the urban informal sector. And this is also very closely related with Sustainable Development Goal 5, which talks about gender equality. It is also related with the Sustainable Development Goal 8, SDG 8, which talk about decent work and economic growth. And why it is important? It is important because the informal sector contribute a significant portion of the total economy. Roughly, the statistics says that it contribute about 50% of total GDP of country and employ over 90% of the workforce. And when we look at the total workforce, the proportion of women workforce in total workforce is large. In fact, again, when we divide it into two parts, organized and unorganized sector, because one side been talking about the gender diversity. So where particularly in organized sector, the companies nowadays have become quite conscious and they are aiming to increase more and more women employee in their workforce so as to become a more diverse in terms of gender and also in terms of giving more opportunity of women participation. There are certain companies where the few positions are kept reserved for the women in the sector, especially the IT sector, if I talk about. And if I talk about my campus, the Amity University Haryana campus is also very, very gender sensitive campus. We have 52% female student studying in the various program. And if I talk about the proportion of faculty member, female faculty member in total faculty member, it is roughly close to 60%. And as a university, we have been ranked among top 300 university in the world in terms of gender diversity, gender equality, SDG 5. This ranking has been given by a very prestigious ranking agency, Times Impact Ranking. So in a way, as a university, we are not only talking about the gender equality, giving equity, empowerment, and equal opportunity to women, but we are a university which is leading by example. When I came to this conference room, I was looking at the participant and I was very happy to see that 85% participants sitting here are also female, which again signify the importance of this particular uh, conference here. So this particular conference is aimed at going into the various challenges faced by women worker in unorganized sector. When we step out of the home, we see lot of unorganized labor around us involved in various economic activities. We see the women laborers are working on road, women laborers are working on construction site, and there are a lot of women hawkers, those they are sitting besides the road and street. And when we see many of them are not only sitting alone, but many of them have kept their small children besides them. And simultaneously, they are selling, they are, doing everything for their livelihood and also taking care of their small children. And I'm sure that you all must have witnessed this, especially during the festive season like Deepavali, when you find that lot of street hawkers are there and they keep selling many things, and in spite of their small children, because they know that it is important for their livelihood. So once you see, many of you must have thought that, you know, is there anything for them from the government side, from the local administration? What kind of support the administration and government is providing to them? The kind of challenges they are facing from the local administration? If there is a rain, they have to wind up everything and they have to pack up, and there is no business on that day. What is the protection? Then, of course, there are many other things which are disturbing their day-to-day activities. Many years back, there was one initiative taken by the Municipal Corporation of Gurugram. They have started earmarking a particular area for street vendors and street hawkers, and they have started giving MCD license to them, and also the kiosks which they were putting were also provided by them at a very nominal cost. If you go towards Medanta Hospital, you'll see that just opposite Medanta, you'll find the same kind of uh, this kiosk put up by, and which is protected by them. So looking at the various challenges which the women of our organized sectors are facing, and especially keeping in mind their importance and their contribution in GDP and economy and the large proportion of population they constitute, it becomes very important at this point of time when we are visualizing to achieve an economy of $30 trillion, that the due impetus to be given to informal sector, particularly the women working in informal sector, and the changes in the policy framework to be done to safeguard and protect this sector so as to maximize their contribution to the economy and so as to realize the dream which has been envisioned by the Prime Minister Modi, and also to achieve the agenda of sustainable development goal. So I believe, looking at the various aspects, this particular conference is going to provide valuable input from the participants across academia, And I'm sure the input provided by the experts will be directed towards solving the various issues and challenges. And at the end of the conference, I'm sure that we will come out with the specific policy option available for the government. Although we have received large number of research papers, and the all papers have been compiled in the proceeding, and I was saying these papers are on very interesting topic. I was reading one paper which was on gig economy. So women role in gig economy. Nowadays, the gig economy is also fastly growing and becoming an important component of total economic activity. So that has also becoming important. The digital literacy is one very important aspect. Many of female working in unorganized sector, they are not aware about that, how they can leverage the digital technology and can enhance their business, can enhance their knowledge, can enhance their skill set. So I see that all these issues will be discussed in during the day, and we'll surely come out with some concrete suggestion to tackle the various issues and problems and challenges faced by women working in informal sector. With these few words, I once again extend a very warm welcome to all. On behalf of my Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok Chauhan, on behalf of our very charismatic, dynamic leader, Dr. Asim Chauhan, on behalf of everyone from Amity University, a warm welcome to all, and we look forward to have a thought-provoking discussion during the various technical session invited talk which are planned during the day this conference. Wish you all the best and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening address. Your guidance is a beacon for all of us. Now, moving forward, it is a time for the much awaited moment and a moment of pride as we unveil the conference proceedings. May I request all our dignitaries to kindly unveil the proceedings and mark the official commencement of this conference. This unveiling signifies the culmination of rigorous efforts and dedications by the organizing team. A round of applause for their hard work. Now we have Professor Dr. D.K. Malhotra, Professor of Business Intelligence at St. Joseph University, Philadelphia, USA. Sir is a finance professor at Thompson Jefferson University, where he instructs undergraduates and graduates courses encompassing derivative securities, financial risk management, fixed income securities, financial modeling, international finance, corporate finance. Portfolio, Dr. Malhotra has authored over 180 articles published in reputed journals such as the European Journal of the Operational Research, Omega, the International Journal of Management Science, and the Journal of Financial Research, amongst others. His work on the mutual fund expenses has gathered recognition from esteemed institutions, including the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), Investment Company Institute, and Securities Industry Association, and has been referred in the Congressional testimony. Notable, his research on the application of neural networks in the consumer loan evaluation has been acknowledged by the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia. Sir will be joining us virtually. Professor, we are eager to hear from you.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you can all hear me loud and clear. Thank you for inviting me to the conference, and I'm happy to be part of it. Thank you for the generous introduction. My name is D.K. Malhotra, and I'm a professor of finance at Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia. Philadelphia it is the birthplace of the United States. That's where the Constitution was signed. And it is also halfway between New York and Washington, D.C., in case somebody wonders where is. That's where the Liberty Bell is. So it is, we are about 1.5 hours from New York, and we are about 3 hours from Washington, D.C. That's where we are located, the Thomas Jefferson University. But I'm basically myself a product of Delhi. I was born in Delhi. I grew up in Delhi, and I used to teach at Zakir Hussain College in India before I went to the US for my PhD. Um, I taught there from 1982 to 1989, and my background is accounting and finance. Although I have taught courses in economics also. So my congratulations to Amity as well as the organizing team for picking a theme which is extremely relevant for the global economy, for the Indian economy, or from human mankind from that particular viewpoint, the role of women. I know the focus is more on the informal sector rather than the role of women. So I'll talk about the role of women in terms of its impact on performance of the companies, in terms of its impact on economic growth, more on that particular part. I had recently attended another conference also where they were sharing some facts and figures regarding the role of women in the society. So bear with me. At any point in time, anybody has a question, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. I'll try my best to answer those questions on this particular part. Uh, as I said, mainly my research is in the area of finance, and obviously, I did explore the area of the impact of diversity on corporate performance. But since I teach economics also, so a little bit of background I have in terms of talking about this particular issue. And I also teach international finance. And in international finance, we do a project where we talk about country risk analysis, whether a country is ready for foreign direct investment or not. We talk about it. And in that context, one of the variable that students are required to analyze it, the role and status of women in the society, education level of women in the society, because that can be a factor that can deter foreign direct investment, and that can be a factor that can encourage foreign direct investment on that particular part. So keep in mind, it does have a significant impact on the performance. So as I said, 2 days ago when I was attending another conference, so another speaker, this is not my factual information, so I cannot take credit for it. They were also talking about the role of unpaid work that females do in a society, and it is estimated that this is close to about $10 trillion. So the GDP contribution, which goes unrecognized, that is up almost about $10 trillion in terms of the unpaid work that women do. So unpaid work means taking care of everybody at home and things like that. That itself is $10 trillion. And I know Professor Srivastava was talking about the informal sector of the economy. Again, a very important sector of the economy, and that plays a very important role in contributing positively towards the GDP. So I'll talk about those issues and why we should take care, why we should pay attention to it, and what the government should be doing in terms of taking care of that particular sector. But my discussion is more on the role of women and diversity and its impact on corporate performance. Again, my name is D.K. Malhotra. I'm a professor of finance at in the School of Business at Thomas Jefferson University. I have been there since 1993. But overall, in higher education, I've spent now close to more than 42 years. I started teaching in the University of Delhi from 2nd of August 1982. So obviously 42 and a half years have gone by on that particular part of it. So welcome everybody. And once again, thank you for asking me to talk about this very important issue. And I learned a lot from that particular part of it. Uh, So I'll talk about the diversity's critical role in modern business. I mean, there's a lot of talk about DEI in the US, and now under President Trump, he's basically passing a mandate not to include DEI. I mean, he is removing it from the federal government job that they will not specifically address DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. But bigger companies like Apple and Google have come out and said that nope, they are not going to strike it away. They are going to continue to maintain DEI. They know that Trump is temporary. I mean, he may be in power for 4 years, but beyond that, it is very crucial to. It is a very important component. It is a very important part of community that they have to acknowledge. They can't just look at it short term. They have to look at it from a value creation viewpoint. So when we talk about in finance, what should be the goal of a firm? We always say that your goal should be creating value for all the stakeholders. Should it be profit maximization? And we say that no, value creation will lead to profit maximization. Profit maximization may not lead to value creation. Keep that in mind. Value creation is long term, profit maximization is short term. I know that when you talk to any owner of a business, they will say that, what are you talking about? I'm running this business not for charity. I'm in here for profit. Yeah. But if you emphasize value creation, you will be actually able to create generate profits also on that particular part. So profit creation, value creation for all these stakeholders, obviously very critical for businesses. But value creation also means value being created for all the stakeholders of the company. Obviously, number one is the owner of the business, whether it is a corporate form of organization, whether it is a individual business. So obviously, any promoter of the business who has invested money in the business, they are going to say that I need money, I need profit. I'm not running this for charity. So you have to decide now as management students, if I ignore a very important resource, a very important human resource, which is the females, is it in the best interest of the owners? Is it in the best interest of the shareholders? Is it in the best interest of the promoter that we are not taking advantage of another viewpoint that can help us build our business? So that is the key question we are talking about. How does it influence a company's performance or a business performance? And now we can extend it to the economic growth of a nation. Not just don't look at it from a corporate viewpoint, don't look at it from a very micro viewpoint, look at it from a macro viewpoint. To give you one example, Japan is facing demographic crisis and their population is on the decline. I mean, everybody knows that Japan's population is on the decline. And in fact, South Korea is also facing the same situation. And in fact, if the trend is not reversed in South Korea, by before this century ends, in fact, by 2070, they are saying that South Korea will disappear from planet. They are not replacing themselves. The birth rate is very, very low, so they are not replacing themselves. So they may disappear from the earth. But more important is Japan. In the case of Japan also, despite the fact that it's fully developed, well-developed economy, females are not participating that actively in the corporate world and the business world. So as a result, GDP growth rate suffers. So the former president of IMF, the French Lagarde, she was actively working with the previous Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to see how they can actually provide genuine growth opportunities to females so that they can become part of the workforce. They stay there as part of the workforce. Otherwise, females think they're just in there and they are not being given important roles within the organization. They are not being given decision making roles within the organization, so they quit. So how can you make them part of the decision making? How can you make them feel that they are being given their due in the society? If that plan works out, Japan's GDP will go up by 2%, and they really need those kinds of issues here on that particular part. So not just at the micro level of a firm or an institution. So that is very crucial on that particular part. So I gave you the example of I gave you the example more at a macro level of a nation itself, Japan. I can give you the example at a very micro level, which is a household. You educate a female, you educate a village, because it's a village that actually takes to build a nation also on that particular part. So you educate one female, you basically educated the whole village. So that's where the role of women becomes very, very critical on that part. Not just lip service, genuine effort has to be made so that they feel that they belong. Genuine effort has to be made so that they feel they belong. They are important part of the decision making process. They are being recognized for the decisions they are making on this particular part. There is no shortage of academic research which will actually talk about the role of women in various areas of that. So I collected some of them. I collected some of them just to show you in terms of how much research have been done. Typically, the women on corporate boards, do they add value on that particular part? For the gendered institutions in the boardroom. I mean, this topic has been a lot of research has been done. So if you have female participation in the corporate boardroom, what happens? Diversity and equality in management system, gender diversity, performance relationships, service and manufacturing organizations, you name it. I made a collection of these papers here. Demographic diversity in entrepreneurial teams. So there's a lot of research, and in fact, in the field of finance also, there is this ETF, exchange traded fund portfolio manager, Kathy Woods. She is pretty well recognized now in the finance world, and she runs these exchange traded mutual funds, and people follow her which stock she's picking on that particular part, and has done very well. Kind of has established as a role model for other females, because portfolio managers in the field of finance, they were mainly male dominated, and now she has basically become a role model in terms of, I mean, I watched her interview, that she is basically an inspiration to other females in terms of taking the lead on investments on this particular part of it. So why is it important? Like, why does it matter? And as I said that, uh, we talked about the informal sector of the economy, which is the social part of it, very, very crucial part of it. My knowledge there, I don't have the statistical figures on that particular part, but I can certainly talk about why this matter. It matters because you can get a different viewpoint. Why do you need a different viewpoint? Because if you don't think differently, you will not be able to engage in what we call the buzzword nowadays, design thinking. So design thinking is a buzzword that every business school is using. We use it in our MBA program. I'm coordinating our MBA program at Thomas Jefferson University. So whenever we talk about recruiting the students, we say that, why should you consider us? Because the curriculum is based off on the idea of design thinking. Think different. This used to be the Apple's slogan when Steve Jobs came back to Apple in 1996, and he will post a picture of Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela, and it'll say that these people thought different, think different, and below that there will be logo of Apple, mainly because when you think differently, you are able to come up with innovative solutions to a problem. You are able to think out of the box. You are able to come with new solutions to a problem that you may not have thought about before. To give you an example, as part of our MBA program, we were in India several years ago, and we were visiting SAP in Gurgaon, actually, the same Gurugram now it's known as. So we were visiting SAP with our MBA students. SAP gave three of their actual problems to our students on the spot, gave them 45 minutes to study the problem, and then half an hour to present the problem. As they were presenting it, their CEO comes to me and says that, can I ask you a question? I say, yeah. He says that, what's the average GPA of your students? And my face turned pale, and I said, why? What happened? Somebody said something stupid? He says, no, I have never heard these kind of solutions. And then I explained to him the process, how we recruit the students, like in terms of, we try to get students with varied background. We don't necessarily have people in the MBA program who have an undergraduate degree in business or engineering only. We have actually people in the MBA program who have an undergraduate degree, sometimes in music, sometimes in Spanish, sometimes in design. So the reason he was from IIM Ahmedabad, he said, I'm from the most elite MBA institution, and we could not think of these solutions that these people are presenting because everybody in the class was an engineer, and everybody think it's an engineering problem. They approach the problem as an engineering problem, and we were never able to come up with innovative solutions. They implemented the solutions. So basically, this is varied perspective. You get different viewpoint when you have diversity. So male thinks different in comparison to female. So this is a very important contribution that you're losing in case you are not making them part of your corporate boardroom, if you're not making them part of your decision making process. It will help improve collaboration because if you feel that you belong, a female workforce feels that their thinking is valued, their viewpoint is valued, it will lead to more collaboration, a collaborative approach in terms of um, in terms of completing the project, or in terms of even offering their viewpoint on that particular part. So they can help you develop team processes. They can help you in terms of providing how do you actually solve approach a particular problem on this particular part. Similarly, you will have more analytical, innovative thinking. I already talked about it when I said varied perspective. Enhanced analytical and innovative thinking also, that will be there because you will get a different viewpoint. You'll be able to analyze a problem from a different viewpoint. Many times you may say that never thought of it like that on that particular part. Definitely will attract talent. Will definitely attract talent, and employee satisfaction will significantly go up when they feel that they are equally valued, they are part of the family, they're equally valued in an organization, whether it is a single organization or whether it is a multinational company. It will definitely attract top talent to the company, and it will improve employee satisfaction on that part. Again, supports better customer orientation and decision making in this particular part, and higher productivity. I mean, the productivity will go up because everybody will give their best. Productivity goes up because everybody will give their best in terms of because everybody feels that that now they are in a working in a team in a more cohesive and productive manner. And again, the diversity of opinion itself will help change the processes in such a way that you will be able to achieve more in less time on this particular part. Flexibility. This is crucial. And now, specifically, when we talk about the informal sector, also, it is very, very crucial. Females have multiple responsibilities. I mean, as I said, there is a lot of unpaid work. I mean, they are mothers, they are sisters, they are homemakers, and at the same time, nowadays, they work out, they go out and work also to support, to provide a better standard of living for their family, for their kids. So for them, if we provide them the flexibility that they need in terms of working hours, working from home, even if you say that, okay, I cannot allow you to work 5 days from home, but if we can make the hours flexible in the sense that by the time the school, you can start early at 8 a.m. and you can leave around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. when the kids are coming home. That kind of flexibility employee will appreciate a lot, and they will be working even more to make sure that not only that they contribute towards the success of the organization, because now you are aligned their personal goals with the goals of the organization. So they realize that company cares for me. I don't want to let this job go, so I better make sure that they do well on this particular part. So flexibility is very, very crucial. You will have a reliable workforce who will not quit. One of the problem with the organization said that before was, so this flexibility and reliable workforce are very related. One of the problems that the employers mentioned is, I don't want to hire a female because I train them and then they get married or move away, or they start a family, and I wasted my time on training them and now they quit the team. So number one, team gets disrupted, and number two, I have to now get another employee, train them again, bring them up to speed. So it affects my projects, it affects my cash flow, it affects my profitability on that part. But if we offer them the flexibility, then you have a reliable workforce. Then nobody's going to go away, nobody's going to leave on that particular part. So you will get a reliable workforce. People hire others to retain, unless and until you're Amazon. Amazon's policy is hire and fire, or hire to fire. But people hire people so that they have a reliable workforce on this particular part. And flexibility can go a long way in improving this reliability. And it leads to better quality of life for your employees because they will have work-life balance, as well as you as a manager, because you don't have to worry about going out and looking for qualified people over and over and over again. Keep in mind, I go back to my original statement. What should be your goal as management? The goal should be to create value for all these stakeholders. Who is a stakeholder? The owners of the business, the creditors or lenders of the business, the suppliers for the business, in case you reply on the supplies part of it, the suppliers of the business on this particular part. Also, you have the customers, you have the communities in which you operate, and you have the governments, local governments also. So to create value, when will the government to create value or for the communities, or to create value for your employees, that will lead to better quality of life. And as part of the community, they will basically support the organization on that particular part. I mean, this part of this is sourced from McKinsey and Company and Bank of America reports. Part of it is from other sources, but mainly from McKinsey and Company, their study. So I'm basically highlighting this particular part of it. So why it matters, that particular issue. Okay, so my own research focused on the examining the diversity effects of diversity on risk-adjusted performance relative to the benchmarks. I mean, I did that study by looking at the most diverse companies. This was co-authored with one of my MBA student. Actually, I mean, I like to work with my students a lot because the goal of research is that it should filter down to your students so that the quality of education goes up. So I always prefer to involve them with my research projects. So this Jing Jiang from China, he became part of it. And I learned from them. I mean, it's not that it's a one-way street that, no, I learned from them and they learned from me. So all of us benefit on this particular part. What we did was we basically collected 33 publicly traded companies in the US, which are considered the most diverse. So there is a website, Diversity Incorporated. They basically list most diverse companies, and we collected the data from 2000 to 2020, and then we did. These are standard finance models. Okay, these are very standard finance models here that we use to evaluate the performance, and this is what we found out in terms of. You can see here the diverse companies, if you invest in the diverse companies, they did significantly better in comparison to stock market benchmarks. And they had lower volatility than the benchmark also on this particular part. I mean, the volatility is lower than the benchmark, and they offered higher risk adjusted performance on this particular part. Okay. So, I mean, these are various benchmarks. So if you are a finance faculty, you will understand the Sharpe ratio, Sortino ratio, Omega ratio. These are basically nothing but the return after adjusting for risk. So Sharpe ratio is the given in back in 1966, and then 97 Sortino Omega ratios are 2000. So these are like they perform better than the stock market benchmarks. Diversity delivers higher return relative to the benchmark on that particular part. Okay, so that's where firms with gender diverse boards, this is 15% higher return on equity. Bank of America study, it leads to improved decision making and governance. And obviously, I talked about this particular part of it. Okay, so I'm almost at the end of it. I know I had to stop at 12:10. I mean, at least that's how I read it on the paper on this particular part. I'm being repetitive in this particular part. Anybody with a question, I'll be more than happy to answer. Anybody with a comment, criticism, more than happy. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Truly appreciate it. Anybody with a question? I'm not able to hear anything in case somebody's asking a question.
There are only two things which I remember. That is, one is the Philadelphia story, uh, which I watched a few days back, and the other thing was the important role of women of Philadelphia in World War One. The one question which has emerged when I was listening to you is that in the modern world, how will the world uh, empower the dharmic dignity and also the demographic diversity of women when the definition of human is constantly changing in the dictionaries of the world?
Uh, it's not a question of the word doing anything about it. It's a question like we always talk about. I mean, there's also a discussion about. Let me kind of move away from what you said, but kind of link to it on that particular part of it. There's a lot of talk about climate change, and nobody is talking more about it than residents of New Delhi, India, given what you see in Delhi nowadays. As I said, I grew up in Delhi. I'm a product of Delhi from the 1960s onward, and I remember the era when you could sleep on the rooftop and not worry about anything during the summer or winters. It will start in November, and December will be very, very cold, and it will continue till January on that particular part. And the climate change, nobody knows more about it. Nobody knows more about the congestion on the road, or the pollution on the road on that particular part. So somebody asked that, uh, who did this? And everybody said that us. And who can change it? Us. No, the speaker said that no, 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 no. It's not us. It's me. I. I did this. I caused this pollution and I have to change it. So most of the time we dismiss saying that nothing is going to change. Who cares? Why am I doing it? Because I'm the only one. No, 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 no. If me as an individual change something, remember, I change it, I influence one more, and they influence one more, then one plus one plus one plus one plus one plus one. That's how we became 1.45 billion people in India. I mean, I saw a T-shirt that come to India, 1.5 billion people cannot be wrong. I mean, I laughed at it. Say, yep, you're right about it. It is. When we change it, I mean, to give you an example, something, I have a colleague in my school of business. Tim Mooney is his name. uh, he is very, very conscious about this climate change, and he will never ever use a disposable cup to drink water, to drink tea, or to drink coffee. And when I started seeing him, I noticed, I mean, I observe a lot, so I noticed I've stopped also. I mean, initially, I out of temptation, I'll do it. I've stopped it also. He didn't say anything to me, but he influenced my behavior on that part. So changing the attitude towards female workforce is nobody else, not the word. Who is word? You and me. So if you and me, if I am a supervisor and I have a positive attitude towards say somebody's opinion, I changed it already. I already changed. I said, no, this is the perfect example of it. So you are going to become part of the management, and you respect those people. You respect the female population. It changes it automatically. It changes it. It automatically changes it on that particular part of it. It's you and me who is doing this particular part of it. We talk, we organize these conferences, we do everything, we talk. But do we actually do something? To give you the example, I'm not going to say where it was. I was at another conference. They were talking about role of women and this and that and all that. So when the time came where they were recognizing the speakers, out of these 4 or 5 speakers that we had, one was female. It was, I mean, I noticed it, and I didn't say anything to the organizer, but I told it to myself. I mean, it's like, it's all hypocrisy. They recognize male first, and the last one to be recognized was female. I didn't get to tell you that she was the best speaker among all of us. So it's the change starts with you. The change starts with you. Otherwise, there is no point in organizing these things. There is no point. We are basically doing it as an academic exercise on this particular part of it. Believe me, it is a crisis in Japan when I say that. Mainly because of this, females are not participating in the workforce, and it is leading to a problem. One of the variables, there's I don't remember now my data source actually. Yeah, the data source is SAI. My data source is SAI, you call it SAI books. They basically have data on country risk analysis. So I actually perform country risk analysis of the BRIC countries as well as emerging markets using various variables on that. One of the variables, they quantify it actually. They give you ranking based on 1 to 10. What is the role of women in society? If the role of women is considered pretty high in the society, they actively participate, they are recognized, it is like between 9 and 10. And if they are not well recognized, they are not part of the decision making process, it's like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 on that particular part of it. uh, Look at the Scandinavian countries. We always talk about sit home mom. I mean, if the kid is born, moms are taking care of. Scandinavian countries, dads have to take care of the kid also. I mean, the dad also has to take time off. So that's why many of these countries are allowing the paternity leave, or not just maternity leave, paternity leave also. Hey, take active participation. So the change starts with you. If female feels that, yes, they are being taken care of, they are being recognized, company does care, genuinely care about them. There has to be genuine care in terms of not just paperwork care. Things will change. World will change. World will change.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Malhotra, sir, for your enlightening session. Despite the miles, your wisdom resonates strongly with us here. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, organizers. Thank you, everybody, for listening to me patiently. At least I couldn't see anybody getting mad and picking up the chair and throwing it at me. No, I mean, I'm just kidding you. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I mean, I could have said anything because even if you are angry at me, you pick up the chair and throw it. It's your chair, your room, your furniture. That's why I decided to be virtual. Now, I'm just kidding you. I'm glad to be part of it. It's a very important topic. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, moving ahead on the intellectual journey of today's conference, our next speaker is Mr. Jagdish Parihar, Assistant General Manager, Cluster in Charge, Gurugram Cluster Office, NABARD. Sir is a seasoned professional with over 2 decades of experience in the banking and rural development sector. He has gained extensive expertise in credit planning, project evaluation, and monitoring of development initiatives. His work spans diverse areas, including preparing potential credit plans, institution development, microcredit, non-farm sector growth, and skill-based women empowerment programs. Currently serving as the AGM and cluster office in charge at Nabar Gurugram, Mr. Parihar continues to contribute to strategic initiatives in rural development. Sir, we invite you to share your insights.
Good afternoon, dignitaries on dais, staff members, research scholars, students, all participants connected through virtually. On behalf of NABARD, I also welcome all in the very needful and workshop related to women empowerment, especially urban women linked with the urban informal sector. I have brief presentation on uh, the topic. I will discuss about the NABARD first, what we are doing related to topic, and what we can do to strengthen the further women empowerment. I am Jagdish Faryar, AGM NABARD. that already introduced you. As you may be aware, the NABARD, that is apex bank of the country, uh, mainly engaged with agriculture and rural development. Through non-financial intervention, we are promoting specifically innovative interventions through our stakeholders, technology, and its demonstration, institutional development for securing prosperity, especially rural and agriculture. We are mainly uh, supporting banks through credit, especially rural financial institutions, whether it is council banks, small finance banks, state government, also providing with support to state governments. In this type of support, we are supporting refinance facilities to state governments for the purpose that RIDF fund, that is Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, you might be aware, that is for creating infrastructure, rural and agriculture, and it marketing of agriculture related commodities. Credit planning and monitoring. Our main function is credit planning. We are uh, drafting and finalizing one plan, that is potential linked credit plan for every district. On that basis, district credit plan is prepared by lead district manager of particular district. Women empowerment, we have already done lot of work since our inception. During 1992, we have initiate SSG bank linkage program, which is very uh, big initiative with the help of all stakeholders, including bankers, reputed agencies, NGOs, other initiative for farmers, that is KCC, Kisan Credit Card, SSG Bank Link is through SSG, Self Help Group, GLG, that is Joint Liability Group. This is for financial institution and credit outreach to women workers, especially in urban areas. We are providing financial assistance to our cities, rural uh, training institutes functioning at district level, and other agencies who are providing training, skill development training to women, not only women, but rural youths as well as women, SSG women. Financial services through banks, financial literacy center, we have created district wise, block wise financial literacy centers with the help of RBI, Reserve Bank. They are providing financial literacy awareness, conducting awareness program and mobilizing rural segment of the country. Financial services, you are aware that is credit, bank account, insurance, including social security schemes, transfer of money DBT through timely adequate credit, especially to vulnerable groups, that is weaker section and women, at affordable cost through proper channel. what what we are facing presently, we are facing lot of challenges. We are, especially means bankers, as you are aware, mainly women or workforce at industries at district level, they are migrant laborer mainly. In case of Gurugram or NCR, wherever industries are there, they are facing mainly KYC related issues, that they are not having proper address proof, lack of records of income or employment, or issues with providing collateral or property title with big ticket loans, especially for migrant labor. Limited but basic financial knowledge, what amount we need, how to use, or for what activity, what what is the repayment terms and condition. So exclusion from labor laws leading to extended working hour without proper compensation, lack of social security benefits, gender discrimination, absence of health benefit, including maternity leaves, that need to be addressed with legislative amendment or policy initiative, that we have to think to overcome the challenges. These all are institutions we are working with: commercial bank, small finance bank, NBFCs, MFIs, that is microfinancial institutions, public sector banks mostly. What micro credit is, mainly as per the RBI instruction, loan up to 3 lakh are comes under, every household comes under micro credits. Mainly micro credit as present are providing by this either small finance bank or microfinancial institutions, MFI. MFI is mainly having good network at a rural level, at urban level as well, and but they are charging rate of interest that is 2 times, even 3 times in some cases. That is very high, 20 to 28, 20 to 28% rate of interest. They are providing uh, financial assistance to the needy, whether it is women, men, or small entrepreneurs. For women empowerment, major initiative taken by Government of India, RBI, during last uh, 10 years mainly. You may be aware about Jan Dhan account, Nokril account. More than 70 crore Jan Dhan account have been operational with these social security schemes, including PMSBY, that is Prime Minister uh, Social Security Scheme, that is Suraksha Bima Yojana, Prime Minister Jan Dhan Bima Yojana, with Atal Pension Yojana. These social security scheme especially benefit these segment with this Jan Dhan account, with small premium only. In case of PMSBY, only 20 rupees premium, they will get benefit of 2 lakh if they suffer with accident or and Jan Dhan Yojana, PM Jan Dhan Yojana, if natural death or any death due to any cause, they will get 2 lakh rupees coverage, social security coverage, with 436 rupees of premium. Likewise, they enable Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, that is annual for especially for urban women. for getting proper livelihood, we are supporting this self-help group specifically for women's. Likewise, joint liability group. If for women's want immediate credit for particular activity, we providing this 50,000 rupees credit limit or immediate loan to each woman, maximum 2 lakh per group. We are providing assistance to financial institutions, 4,000 per group as a grant assistance for providing this credit facility to needy person. Likewise, PM Swanidhi for street vendors. This is just, you can see what progress we have made during last 14 years. Number of adult with bank account, it was 35% during 2012 11, which goes up 77% in 2021. Credit access gap also go up, rich to poor, gender divided financial institute, which was earlier not there. 52.6, you can see here, 52.6 crore PMJD account with all these social security schemes plus overdraft facilities with 10,000 rupees. This account, PMJDY account, provides facilities for especially for rural, urban, and weaker sex. 77.7 crore people have credit cards. If we move towards this digital transaction, basic saving bank account goes up from 7.3 crore to 70 crore in last 13 years, which is good, you can say, development. What we can do more? I mentioned that we have already set up financial literacy center at every block in or all the 5 district of cluster. We need to cover all district of the country with these financial literacy centers with to guide the rural mass about the available banking services and available uh, available banking schemes, social security schemes, subsidy schemes for the benefit of entrepreneurs, women, and also this subsidy schemes. We need to revisit Manrega like programs, credit support for self-employment. These subsidy schemes are there. We need to formulate more subsidy scheme. You may be aware about this Stand Up India, especially for women, providing 25 to 35% subsidy if she want to set up greenfield enterprise. Microcredit under priority sector. Under priority sector, already in banks are providing interest subvention up to 4 to 5%. especially to SHGs, JLGs. We recently the credit ticket loan ticket size increased from 10 to 20 lakh, which is good move by RBI. Government support for social security schemes. Currently, it is providing by Haryana government for BPL families, but we need to cover all weaker section, not only BPL. Focus on every household to every adult, which is required urgently emphasis on DBT, which is uh, increased transparency and digital payment. Apart from these, NABARD is also channel partner of this subsidy schemes, that AMI agriculture marketing infrastructure, that is subsidy for creating warehouses, strengthening agriculture marketing infrastructure. We are providing 25 to 3% of subsidy, capital subsidy through various banks. That is basically credit linked subsidy. Suppose somebody want to construct this 500 to 50,000 metric ton warehouse silos, which is very good storage structure. In that case, 33% subsidy available from NABARD, credit link subsidy. Similarly, for agriculture graduate, we are providing subsidy scheme like agri clinic, agri business. 40% subsidy. If somebody wants to invest 20 lakh rupees in agri clinic, that is either soil testing lab, mobile soil testing lab. You may be aware about drone DD, something. If want to set up custom hiring center, including high-tech machineries, drone, if they want to set up some kind of custom hiring center, they will get this subsidy around 40%. Total investment up to 40 lakh. Similarly, AIF fund, you may be aware, recently during July 2020, one fund, that is agriculture infrastructure fund, introduced by government of India, which is also providing 3% interest subvention to agri entrepreneur if they want to invest in similar kind of activities. They may get this additional 3% of interest subvention. So this is brief about our initiative and NABARD. If you have any question, I will happy to answer. Otherwise, thank you, Amity. Thank you all for inviting and hearing me patiently. Thank you.
I had a small question. So on, on one hand, you do have facilities like simplification of the KYC norms and Aadhaar cards as proof of identity and address, etc. And on the other, you do have this constant thing of, there is no KYC. So what are the impediments exactly? Like what are the exact challenges that are there? Are these migrant workers without their Aadhaar cards completely? Do they have no identity proofs? I'd like just to understand that question. Thank you.
This actually, bankers are not accepting only Aadhaar as a identity as well as address proof. So RBI also instructed bankers to you may take only Aadhaar, address proof as well as identity proof. But they are the bankers at a local level. They want local address here. Your Aadhaar should be updated like you want to take credit from Gurugram. Your Aadhaar address should be from Gurugram only. They sometimes they are facing difficulties in updating this address uh, without this proper rent agreement, or they do not have any address proof, local identity. So they may not get credit support from here. In that case, we propose RBI to issue guideline to bankers. Only Aadhaar wherever it is issued from, you can consider as KYC. So it will help especially migrant laborers to avail credit without hassle-free credit.
Hello. I'm Dr. Shubhra. I have a small question. Do you provide fund for establishing an agri-based demonstration lab and skilling facility?
Yeah, we are providing grant-based project, demonstrative project. If university, tax, banks, any government reputed institute want to demonstrate any technology, they can submit detailed project report. We will provide grant, only grant, not loan or any kind of support. We are totally providing grant support for innovative projects, whatever kind of.
Is it a call based or any time of the year we can submit such a project?
You can submit every time,
Okay.
anytime. Avoid after January, February, March. It will not consider because we are we have almost closed our target this financial year. You can submit first of June, July.
So shall we contact you for submitting the project?
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights into the vital role of NABARD in rural development. Now, next speaker is Dr. Sangeeta Ghosh. She is currently working as an assistant professor at the Institute of Studies in Industrial Development, New Delhi. She has a PhD in economics from the Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Her doctoral thesis looked into the industrialization process in India, studies the clustering patterns of the industrial activities, and examined the role of the allied economics and industrial policies in determining industrial outcomes. Her MPhils look at subcontracting practices in organized manufacturing sector. Prior to ISID, she has worked as assistant editor at Economics and Political Weekly, Mumbai. Ma'am, the stage is all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. I will be brief. So my talk today will briefly lay out some trends in women's work participation rates and some explanations towards the recent change that I think are important to flag. We will explore where women work in urban India and try to see two specific pathways that bring about a change towards empowerment and equity. The first I'd like to talk about is the formation of collectives, and the second would be urban's governance and the women's right to a city. So first, to talk about the trends in women's work participation rates, and I'm sure many of us here are familiar with this. Between 2004 and 2018, there was a sharp decline in women's work participation rates from around 49% to 24.6%. Now, since 80% of women work in the rural areas, this sharp decline was driven by the rural areas. After this period, there has been a sharp increase in the labor force participation rates. And once again, the change is more pronounced in rural areas, from 24.6% in 17-18 to 47.6% in 23-24, which is a 23% point change in a very short period of time. In urban areas, the labor force participation rates did rise, but they were muted from 20% in 17 to 25% in 22 to 28% in the last PLFS survey in 2023-24. Now, there is, of course, what are the explanations towards these trends that we see? There is, of course, a large volume of literature that talks about the low work participation rates for women in India, and they can be broadly ascribed to a set of two factors, like on the demand and the supply side. On the supply side, first, there are cultural and social norms that constrain women from participating in economic activities, the enormous burden of care on women, domestic chores, child care, as well as elderly care. There are issues of skilling and education as well. Now, it has been argued in the literature that the decline in the female work participation force has come about with increased family income, where women no longer feel the need to go out and work, and that they could focus on their huge burden of domestic chores and reproduction of labor and care work. And maybe even on education, as we know that the unemployment among the educated youth is much higher than in the other categories for both men and women. Now, importantly, there is also a body of literature that highlights the issues that arise in the measurement of women's work and how it is undercounted. So, for example, I bring to your notice a paper by Ashwani Deshpande that details how there would be women working full time for pay, but occasionally. So, what this essentially means is that women being restricted by domestic responsibilities and their ability to travel far from work and so on are more constrained by the availability of work near their residences. So when a surveyor comes and asks them, and that's how your data is collected, they might not respond to be working in the last 30 days or even in the last day or the previous week, but they work more sporadically. Thus, despite of being in the labor force, she's not counted as one. So, as Deshpande puts it, women are working, but they are invisible. On the demand side, there is an issue of lack of demand of women's work and lack of suitable employment opportunities that prevent women from entering the workforce. Now, so what caused the increase in the labor participation rate and such a drastic increase of 23 points in the last 5 years? So, of course, there is the issue of so if the decline was caused by a rise in family incomes, if we take that as a set thing, so this rise in women's work participation rates also has been ascribed to the need to work with dwindling incomes, with the shocks of demonetization and GST, particularly for the informal sector, and then of course the pandemic induced lockdowns as well. So, however, there is one more issue that apart from the the state of the economy that needs to be highlighted, and that has gone largely unnoticed in the literature, brought out in an article in the Indian Forum. So I think I'd just highlight that to you, and it's something that further research can help us shed more light on this. It is about a definitional change that has happened in the 2023-24 PLFS survey, which basically recategorizes the way self-employment was seen. So, for example, women or men for that matter, but the change is more driven by women. That's how you will understand why. So, free collection of firewood, vegetables, etc., would be considered as would not be considered as self-employment in the earlier surveys, but not in the labor force category. Now, in the last survey, it has been categorized as employment as well. So it includes categories of previous workers who were not considered in the labor force before. So it is very important when we do our analysis of women work participation rates and how it's placed to look at the definitional changes that have occurred over time, and even the break between the NSS and the PLFS that has also occurred, right? So where do women work? I'm skipping some of my presentation in the interest of time. So where do women work in the informal urban sector? They are concentrated in low-paying, low-productive work in occupations, often at the bottom of the skill pyramid and spectrum, or the jobs that they do are simply just ascribed less value, also because the way work is organized. So I'd like to highlight a paper by Arup Mitra in Development and Change, which brings forward an important point about women's work in the urban informal sector, where women have been found to be compelled to work near their residences that are decided for many of them by marriage. So the social networks that they rely on to get these jobs is also dictated by caste and religious networks and are constrained by where they live. And they have a disproportionate burden of household work and reproductive labor anyway, which constrains where and which sectors they can find jobs in. In urban areas, women are seen to be concentrated in industry, mainly textiles and food and beverages, hotels and restaurants, education, agriculture, household services, including domestic work, business and professional services, and healthcare. Um, so, of the many types of informal employment, women tend to be overrepresented as domestic workers, home-based workers, and street vendors, as well as healthcare workers. Women engaged in informal and insecure work are not protected by the labor laws, allowing them to be easily commodified and exploited. So I choose to talk about three specific category of women workers in the urban employment informal sector: domestic workers, home-based workers, and street vendors, and bring around certain efforts that can and have helped them through some experiences around the world. So, as we know, for domestic workers, the invisible nature of domestic work in private homes has made women particularly vulnerable to modern day slavery. Issues of dignity, access to sanitation can be a major challenge for these workers. Home based workers are individuals who work in their own homes on labor intensive tasks that range from textile work and parts assembly to clerical work. Employment relationships vary vastly for these workers who are contracted by employers, selling their piece rate work to intermediaries, and some selling their products independently as well. Like domestic workers, home-based workers face around visibility and low wages, but also irregular work, delayed payments, and rejected goods. The third category of workers, street vendors, form a considerable part of the informal sector economy. There are close to 10 million street vendors in India and roughly 2% of entire city populations. However, street vending is part of the unregulated informal economy and therefore criminalized by city officials, police officials, as well as residents' welfare associations. Issues facing street vendors include accessing public places to sell their goods, acquiring a secure location for storing their carts and merchandise, acquiring a bank account, and acquiring a vendor's permit. Now, there are examples and initiatives towards organizing these categories of workers. Domestic workers collectives create visibility for women informal workers, and there are examples from Indonesia and Kenya that have been successful in developing a collective for domestic workers. The RAP program in Indonesia provided leadership training and issue awareness, which increased the agency of domestic workers. In Kenya, a famous collective called the Domestic Hotel Educational Institute Hospital and Allied Workers Collective has a membership of over 20,000 workers. The agency helps coordinate local recruiting, awareness raising, liaisoning with stakeholders, and develop a unity out of the diversity of these many forms of informal work. The local communities have weekly meetings on Sundays, and the meetings are worker led and include educational components about social issues like family planning, as well as domestic workers' issues around rights and negotiating contracts. They also raise small funds for the members to fund a domestic worker to invest in a personal need. For home-based workers, an NGO in India, SEVA, has made enormous strides in gaining rights for home-based workers in India. SEVA deals with the lack of infrastructure and the basic services in women's homes for home-based workers, providing skill training and identity cards, such as worker cards for individual bargaining power. Members are connected for over 50 cooperatives around India and provided with opportunities to network and participate in decision making within their trade communities. More recently, SEVA has started working in Delhi and other parts of the country to get home-based workers registered on the e-Shram portal of the government, which is a very important initiative, perhaps, that has come out now in the recent years that can help include workers in the social security network, also offer them an identity card, particularly for migrant workers who shift from one location to other and undergo a change in their vocation as well. SEVA is also working with street vendors, particularly in Delhi. There are close to 3 lakh street vendors in Delhi, but the municipal corporation official figures is only 1.25 lakhs, of which 30% are women. The SEVA movement in Delhi began with women vegetable vendors in urban slums, and now they have 6,000 street vendors in the SEVA Delhi Union. SEWA has played a key role in passing of the Street Vendors Bill 2014. After dedicated and collaborative advocacy efforts, they helped achieve landmark court victories, and their efforts translated to help women vendors in work in 4 major markets in Delhi. So these improvements in work conditions of women informal workers and their experience does come as a result of collective action often. Collective action can come in many forms, and regardless the nature of its formality, collectives can form an essential mechanisms for bringing people together to represent them as a group, demand change, and hold leaders accountable. However, there is a challenge in this process where not all workers have equal access to forms of collective action. Informal workers, and particularly those who operate in isolation without recognition as workers from an employer or from the state, have fewer opportunities to collectivize. Women are especially vulnerable in this category, and their isolation can be driven by factors beyond the nature of their job. Collectivization can be an important avenue for building empowerment through personal capacity building, developing bonds with other women, and representing themselves and their needs in wider society and in the economy. Now, next we turn to the issue of urban governance. There is an urgent need to imagine the cityscape as a place of work for numerous women and men, and the urban infrastructure as a means to facilitate this work. Amenities like street lighting, bathrooms and sanitation facilities, transportation facilities can help women work. A comprehensive care economy architecture reduces the burden of child care and domestic care responsibilities for the elderly, increasing funds for health workers, for Anganwadi workers, incentivizing CSR funding for setting up micro and small enterprises may be a big way forward. Industrial policy needs to promote employment generation and invest in employment generating industries. The Bangladesh and the textile employment in Bangladesh that employs many women is one example of this, where large factories that work in the textile industry employ many women. Industrial policy needs to be drawn that specifically elevates the constraints that are faced by employment intensive sectors, those that particularly employ women. Embedding gender concerns in key macro policies are critical, and therefore there's a need to rethink the framework through which we approach this issue. It is important to state that it is not one, but a combination of many factors like education, skills, safety, promoting services of transportation, sanitation, handling the care economy, and a supportive policy environment that would engage more women in the workforce. Credit facilities and credit access for women for setting up small businesses, addressing the issue of lack of collateral, which was also highlighted in the previous presentation, facilitation and knowledge centers staffed with women. Now, this is, I think, a very important point which often goes unnoticed, that so many, like banking staff is largely men, that women from a women-led household or those who do not have the support of male members in their family, it's very difficult for them to, even for men actually, it's quite difficult from the informal sector. So it would be a important initiative to have more women workers representing the banking system. And I think financial literacy centers employing more women workers would be a big way forward to help enhance financial literacy for women, and also to bring to them the schemes and benefits that the government announces from time to time. The e-Shram portal is a very important initiative in this regard as well. NGOs play a big role here, and thoughtful government intervention would provide the space and infrastructure for workers to work. Now, as challenging as it is, empowerment and achieving equity would have to be a continuous, thoughtful process that would demand rethinking at various levels of policy. I'm sure the conference also today will shed a lot of light on this. Thank you. Questions, should we take it at the end, I think, or does anybody want to ask anything, since that's been the norm? I know. Lunchtime is a good time.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing such profound knowledge with us. Your expertise is truly inspiring. Thank you, ma'am. Our final speaker for this segment is Professor Dr. G.K. Arora. Sir joined the University of Delhi in 1982 as a lecturer and later served as a professor principal for 15 years before retiring in 2021. Currently, he holds multiple roles, including visiting faculty, education consultant, to name a few. A gold medalist in economics, he earned his MPhil and PhD from JNU, receiving numerous fellowships and accolades such as Glory of India Award 2018 and Zee Hindustan's Excellence in Education Award 2021. Dr. Arora has over 70 publications, including 4 books, and has contributed as a researcher, consultant, and academic leader. We warmly welcome you, sir. Please share your insights.
So much. Very nice introduction. You see, I'm more concentrating on the watch and less on this write-up. Plus, I'm reminded of the humble but very stern warnings from my close friends. I'm not naming them, but we'll take it in the evening. Anyway, you see, formally, let me begin by congratulating the entire team, led by Dr. Rishi, Dr. Jose, Dr. Faraz, and their respective teams, including the young students. हमारे में ये बोलते हैं कि जैसे लड़की की शादी करनी होती है तो बाद में बात करते हैं यार लड़की की शादी ठीक हो गई थी ना. Dr. Jose, this is made equivalent to daughter's marriage conference. So you all deserve a very warm and heartiest thanks for organizing it. Let me also take this opportunity to thank you for giving me this opportunity, and more so the audience. Very difficult to collect the people, more when you are close to the lunch, and it is generally an offense if you hold the people from lunch. And it is also good to be the last speaker closer to the lunch, because most of the people, they become non-serious, and we call in our own language. So, by saying so, let me come back to exactly the topic is the main pain points require reshaping, recentering, restructuring. Now, I look at 5 important aspects, this entire discussion, a brief concept, and contextualizing this sector in the background of constantly evolving world of work, which is influenced by the changing forces of globalization and the lopsided economic development of this country. And then fourth, I look at the main pain points which come out of this the informal sector economy, and why there is a need for restructuring, reshaping, and redesigning the policies. The interesting part is that when you are the last speaker, most of the things, the basic introduction of the informal sector and its diversity has already been highlighted. Everybody knows that it's a very, very important sector in terms of GDP, in terms of employing the people, in terms of, but the two things which are very, very important, that diversity has become so important over the period. So that is a part which makes it more important. The second most important is that its role is multidimensional and substantial. So given this, many of the terms have come over the period, like some of the papers I was looking at, somebody's talking about the gig economy, the nano segments. And these are very, very important issues which are attached to the informal sector. Now, if you look at it, originally, page 4, the originality, the term informal sector goes back to 1972 in the Kenya Convention. But this is more known as a way of doing the things. If you come back to a way of doing the business, which is recently being talked about, now it is way of doing the things. Way of doing the things that everybody knows that it's a very flexible system. You require low skills, you require low capital, you require the local people, you require the migrant, very little capital is required. These are the features. But having said so, this is also very important to highlight that the activity range is very, very large as far as informal sector is concerned. Something which is missed all along, it's generally confused with the unorganized sector, but this is to be highlighted. This is a subset of unorganized sector, small sector. So as a result of it, too many terms are being used. So the conceptual issues associated to it, they bring a challenge. And the challenge is in terms of how the policy making should be evolved and done. That is a very, very important issue. Now, having said so, the two very important forces which are bringing an influence is how the world of work is changing and gets into the informal. Now, over the period, it has been seen that the global world of work has witnessed a change. But before I talk about it, the global informal economy has become very, very important over the period, irrespective of what is the nature of development, whether you're poor or a rich country, but informal sector remains important. The contribution to GDP ranges from 40% to even the developed countries like 15%, ranging the employment from 60% to 90% in some of the countries. So this shows the range of the global informal sector. If you look at the page number 6, size, composition, and contribution of the informal sector, everybody knows that it's a big sector. Dr. Sangeeta has very elaborately explained that the diversity of workers. But there is something more which needs to be added, that the workers who are not occupied to a particular profession, A, and the workers who sporadically work, and C, the workers who change their employers frequently. As a result of it, this multiplicity and the spread of workers, particularly across the regions, poses a very serious challenge. Now, if you look at the women, in fact, they are essential. I normally tell to my young students of national income accounting that if you impute the role of the woman, 5 roles. The role of a woman as a worker, the role of the woman in the household, role of the woman as the husband, role of the woman as a mother-in-law, irrespective of these roles which you play, in addition to the physical and emotional role, which if you put them together, probably your GDP will grow much more as compared to the Americans, and we will be the Viksit Bharat immediately during the next 5 years if you could calculate it. Anyway, having said so, my purpose was that the women play a very, very essential, important role at many places, and this needs to be imputed. I'm sure Dr. Sangeeta will be very happy to work on this issue, that how this role to be imputed and how the GDP will go to the next stage. Now, something which is bothering me all along is the world of work. In fact, my area is globalization, and from where they have picked up a term, the world of work, which originally came from ILO. The world of work has become very, very complex over the period. Very, very complex because the cost has become so important, the delivery time has become so important, and much more important is the way it has entered into what is known as double dualism. I will use the word not only the double dualism, we have entered into a phase of triple dualism. We find India on one side, Bharat on the other side. We find the informal sector and we find the formal sector. We find the satellite industry, we find the bullet industry going on. Now, these are the dualisms and the informal sector is a very important contribution. Now, in addition to this, there are quite a few other developments which play an important role in further making the things complicated, particularly the world of work. Now, the world of work has become also complicated during the process of globalization, which most of really haven't understood. This has been indiscriminately used, it has been unsequenced, it's uncoordinated. As a result of it, the combination of the government and the market is changing drastically. And I normally tell to my young students that if I go back to my old young age, Campacola की एक advertisement आया करती थी, happy days ahead, always on the front line. I always tell my young students that during the phase of globalization, you are not going to have the happy days ahead for certain reasons. But this slope-sided development further gets accentuated with the help of poverty and rising inequalities. This creates a problem for the informal sector, and the global forums have pointed out that over the period, this gets further accentuated. This problem gets much more deep-rooted. But having said so, this redressal is very, very important if we entering into the Viksit Bharat. The challenges come from on many fronts. Something which is very important is the contribution is important not only in terms of GDP, but it's also important in terms of employing the people. Now, therefore, the challenges becomes much more serious if you got the cake which is smaller. It is difficult to share it. You know, the women can't ask for their what she was talking very happily, the workforce participation. If the cake is small, this given the social background factors which continue to play a very, very important role in offering the services and the work to the women. Now, having said so, the challenges come with four. One is that the job creation is lagging behind the growth. And the second is that the 12 million young workers who join every year the unemployed pool needs to be taken care of. And the third is that studies of the different bylaws, which many people come from law will be studying, the all kind of three kind of workers which she has talked about, the hawkers and the domestic workers and all works who are roaming all around the migrant labor. You see the set of policies which are being used, if you examine them, people they have come to the conclusion that they harm them more and benefit them less. That's the number of studies which come out it. And the last is that the gig economy is getting more and more prominent, and into it, the gig workers' role. In fact, unfortunately, even the most sophisticated works, high-tech work, the workers who contribute, they do not have to the extent of 80 to 85% of those young students and the young workers, they do not have any written agreement even today. That is a serious challenge. Now, these are some of the issues which are bothering and should bother the informal. Now, some of the pain points, which is the heading, is that the sector is important, A, its potential role has gone up, particularly keeping in view the sustainability and things like that. But there is a silver lining. The silver lining is that Dr. Sunita has talked about the domestic workers, etc. There are three models. There is a Pune model, there is Ahmedabad model, and there is a Delhi model. If those who go to the tailor's shop, go to all the sophisticated tailors, you find there is the work order is collected. It is not done. So is the embroidery work. That's a Delhi case. Go to the Ahmedabad and the Pune, the waste pickers have been added and put in the chain of the global work. And if facilities are given to them, facilities are provided to them, they will contribute in a major way to the global to the waste management systems. Similarly, if you take the case of Ahmedabad, where the government, municipality, the builders, and the local people and the community finance have come together to get over the problem of the housing. So these are the three very important models which needs to be further put into the different case studies and find out that how this can be improved. Now, having said so, I come back to the kind of solution that since the dimensions, degree and problems, these are very serious as far as the informal sector is concerned, and particularly the urban women. Therefore, that they are really important segment, whichever way we look at them. Therefore, the job creation is a key. Employing the people, because we continue to enjoy demographic boom. If you are going to, we will have more and more young people entering into the unemployed pool. Therefore, that national cake has to be enlarged. Now, given this, the World Economic Forum have come up that what is going to be the future of growth. They say that future of growth will come out of the innovations, inclusiveness, sustainability, and resilience. If this is the mantra, if future growth, then we need to concentrate on transition of the informal sector to the formal sector. And this transition is going to be very, very important. And for this, the non-farm employment must rise. And it must rise at a sharp rate, not only to give employment to the people who are unemployed already, or the backlog of unemployed, but also the 12 million people who enter the unemployment pool. And let me quickly add to it. You see, जिसको कहते हैं ना कि वो कौन सी खोपड़ी शैतान का खाली mind. This reminds me that the political, social, and economic cost of the unemployed people, if they are not given any kind of compensation, will lead to chaotic conditions in this country for times to come. So therefore, the word of need also needs to be refreshing. I normally tell to my young students, if you watch the people who work at the MNCs and you just observe them when they come back in the evening, ऐसा लगता है जैसे पुलिस की मार खा के आए होते. They're so broken, in fact. So the word of work also requires a refreshing. And the last is the informal business also requires refreshing in terms of different kind of laws where some liberties have to be given. Rakesh has talked about the NABARD experience that RBI. I am very sure that they don't follow the RBI. You ask the right question. They always insist not for one document which is sufficiently and always attached, but they ask for the other things. कि local address कुछ तो होना चाहिए. So the bylaws and which are bylaws and other sort of set of conditions which are being imposed on the people, they in theory and practice they differ. So this kind of unbundling is also required. And the last is the national collective efforts, where the center, state, and local bodies they come together away from the narrow political goal to concentrate on the informal sector, the young people, so that the opportunities are created. And the last is that collective efforts, partnerships, people-centered policies, and of course, the visionary government, not the government which always play in terms of the political emotions of the people. I think we have to run away from this if we want really the Viksit Bharat. Thank you so much. Dr. Jose, forgive me if I have exceeded the limit, but I think
Thank you, sir, for your remarkable and enlightening session. Your words will surely leave a lasting impact on all of us. Thank you, sir. As we conclude this session, it is time to express our gratitude. May I invite Dr. Rishi Mandrai, sir, to deliver the vote of thanks. Dr. Rishi Mandrai, sir, is Associate Professor and PhD Program Coordinator at MIT University, Gurugram. He is also co-PI of the ICSSR sponsored project and convener of the conference. Dr. Rishi has authored several research papers in double-blind peer-reviewed journals. He has also about 30 papers published and 70 international conferences to his credit. He has also successfully organized various faculty development programs and national conferences sponsored by professional bodies like ISTE, Indian Society for Technical Education. Prior to joining MIT University, Sir has served in prestigious universities like Symbiosis International University, Pune and NIT Kurukshetra. Sir, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fiza. Good afternoon, all the esteemed guests, speakers, faculty members, and my dear scholars. As we come to the close of this insightful and enriching conference, it is with deep sense of gratitude to express my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you. On behalf of Amity University, Gurugram, I would like to extend a sincere appreciation to our Honorable Founder President Sir and Honorable Chancellor Sir for their constant support and motivation for this conference. I would like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir Professor Dr. P.B. Sharma Sir for his continued dedication to advancing the mission of the institution forward. We are deeply thankful to our Pro Vice Chancellor Sir Professor Dr. Vikas Madhukar sir for his unwavering belief in the power of knowledge and collaboration. Sir is truly inspiring, and we are grateful for his active participation in this conference and for his constant support both in academics and research. His leadership has made this conference not only possible but also a rounding success. To all the speakers and panelists who have shared their knowledge, expertise, and valuable insights throughout the session, your contributions have made an instrumental in making this conference a success. And we are truly grateful for your time and effort which you have dedicated for us. A big thanks to the strong pillars of Amity University, Haryana, Mr. Agarwal, CFO AUH, SK Singh sir, Director Admin, and KK Pandey sir, Director HR, and his complete team. Without their help and support, it would not be possible for us to arrange this particular conference. To all the research scholars and their contribution, I am very thankful for their exceptional work. I am also grateful to ICSSR for sponsoring this particular conference. All the faculty members of Amity University and Amity Business School who are helpful in organizing this particular conference, we are deeply thankful to you all. In the end, I would like to wish all a success for your future endeavors and look forward for possible collaborations with you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for those heartfelt words of gratitude. Every contribution to this conference has made it a success. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now break for lunch. Please join us at the designated area for lunch. We request all the faculty members, research scholars, and students to join us at D block backfoil for lunch. And also, post lunch, we reconvene for the technical session at 2 o'clock. Okay, thank you all.